Welcome to Real with me, Zara King. I have been in business and personal development for years alongside raising my family. I started in the beauty industry in 2011, moved into network marketing and then coaching and NLP. This podcast originally began helping beauty professionals, and now I support ambitious women in a wider arena of service-based businesses. It is all about real, uncensored conversations on coming home to you and your alignment. You are done playing at a level that you know you've outgrown, and you're ready to go all in on creating more income, more freedom, mental clarity, and a business that actually works for your life. Inside this podcast, we talk real business, real life, and the hard parts most people avoid, from identity to strategy and what it actually takes to grow as women and mothers who want it all. So if you're ready to trust yourself fully and step into your next level, you're in the right place. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Real with me, Zara King. I'm so glad you are here. Thank you so much for spending so much time with me. Before we get into the episode, if you are an OG, if you have been here for a while, if you just listen regularly and you haven't reviewed the pod, please review the pod. It just helps it so much more than you realize to get in front of other people. We have listeners from all over the world and it blows my mind, but like the reviews don't reflect the downloads and the DMs and things like that I get about the pod. Like, everybody tells me how bloody amazing it is, and so yeah, please do review. So shameless plug at the beginning there, because how else are we going to get this bad boy to grow? Do you know what I mean? Anyway, I hope you're having a good day. If you're in the UK, are we still having this heat wave for much longer? Because this pregnant lady over here in the third trimester now is honestly losing the will to live. And I'm trying not to complain because I absolutely love a summer. I want to go out and get a tan. I want my face to be brown. I want my arms to be bronzed. But going out in this weather is insane. It's insane being pregnant. And I know, like, it's my own doing. I'm not stupid. I've done this 3 times. My boys were born in July as well, so I get it. This one's due end of September. But yeah, I've done this before to myself. Anyway, so let's get into today's episode. If you've seen this title and you've clicked on it, maybe it's new, maybe it's old at the time you come in. Let me just say, you are clearly stuck at 2 to 3k months, right? Or maybe you are stuck at a little bit less. It doesn't matter. Or maybe a little bit more. It doesn't matter. But you're hitting the same income ceiling. And so this is the thing. Like, really listen to this episode, because A, I have been where you are. B, it's really difficult to see what's next and how you're going to get out of it. And I don't know if there is a C, but let's just get into the episode, shall we? Basically, what it is in a service-based business, regardless of what you offer. Now, for context, I used to offer things like nails, brows, lashes, tanning, waxing. Let me pause. Oh my God. Okay, we are back. I had to pause because we're still in temporary accommodation while the house is still being finished. And I've got the windows wide open because this place is ridiculously hot. Like I said, heat wave. And that was a very loud noise from the background. You probably couldn't even hear it that much, but I'm like, oh my gosh. Anywho, so regardless of what services you offer, I used to offer things like nails, brows, lashes, LVL, and extensions, facials, gorgeous facials. Oh my goodness. Back in the day, tanning, like all your beauty therapy stuff, right? I used to offer all of that. And it doesn't matter what service you offer. Maybe you're even like offering, maybe you're a PT, I don't know. Whatever services you offer. If you're face to face, you get to a point where you're stuck at the 2 to 3k month. Now, this is just because you're following a business model that needs you to be there all the damn time. And you are taught that, obviously, you trained to do this treatment, and the first thing you ask is like, how do you get clients? The first thing that I was taught when I trained in beauty was, this is how you get clients. Or it wasn't even how you get clients. There wasn't a lot of business training at all. It was just go in at this price. Bad advice, by the way. It was like going at the average of your area, slightly under, just as you get started. I'm like, no. And it was like, you can get fully booked by word of mouth. I trained back in 2011. So years ago. And you just think, right, as soon as I'm fully booked, I'm good. Like, that's the aim of the game, is get fully booked, have more clients, see more clients, and then I'm good. Like, the success is when I'm full. And that's when I can tell people, yeah, it works. I'm good at this, you know. So anyway, you get stuck at around 2 to 3 grand a month, sometimes less. Let me know if you're not following me on social media. It's Zara King. It's all linked in the description. Follow me. Let me know how you're getting on with this and where you're at. Now, obviously, if you go back through all the episodes on this podcast, you can learn so much about building a beauty business, face-to-face, service-based, because that's what I started helping women do 5 years ago, is like get fully booked, but still earning more and working less. That was always the messaging behind what I've always taught women, because I just feel like when I got completely shat on in the corporate world, it was like, no, I don't need to settle for this. Like, I can make my business work and I can still have, you know, my life, and I can make it work flexibly around my kids. And that is what I did. But I must admit, I was capped at like the 4 to 5k a month. Yeah, it was like £1,000 a week, £1,200 a week, blah, blah, blah. Now, you might be listening to that thinking, well, that's massive money, right? Fine. It is, to somebody that's doing 27 hours a week from home without a team and building up client-facing business. That's really great. Or it was back then anyway. Nowadays, it's so much easier to leverage your time, leverage your knowledge, leverage your space, leverage online, leverage all of this stuff so that you can earn even more and work even less. So as the time has gone on, I would say in the last 2 years, I've been helping women that do want to step into the mentorship, and more so in this particular year, really honing in on that inside the container Limitless, which is now my signature coaching offer. So the thing is, what I realize about all of these women that I'm helping is that when you're in the boat of face-to-face, you are focusing on the wrong issues in your business. You're focusing on just retention still, which is fine. You do want to focus on retention, but you solve all of these problems, like client retention, getting all the reviews, making your business stand out, all of this, and actually getting all of that really, really tight and really great, like having the best policies and having the right attraction marketing in place and having the right pricing for profit in place, and having a little bit of leverage when it comes to your hours, because your price is really great and stuff, and having that your full books, for example, where your income is predictable. This is where I would get a client to, for example, their income would be really up and down. And then we'd get them to a place of predictability, because, of course, we focus on the problems that are client retention, like where are they dropping off, like what about the client journey and new clients coming in, and how are we doing that, and X, Y, and Z. So, of course, you focus on those problems and you solve a few of those, and then you get into this position where you're like, okay, that's the kind of cap. So it's good to focus on those problems if you are still client-facing. There are other things you can do as well. If you're client-facing and you want to still leverage and you want to grow, you still bloody well can, and that is what I still teach women to do. But there are really 5 key areas that I want to just touch on this episode for you, because I think these are the areas that, and some of it overlaps, but these are the areas that I would focus on if you are capped, if you don't want to leverage other people, i.e. have a team, staff or commission based or whatever, and if you don't want to progress your career into something else like education as such that comes with lots of training, or I think in this industry, like in the service-based industry or wellness and personal care, whether it's beauty or wellness and stuff, I think people always think if they go from being a small business that's like mobile or home-based or renting a space, that they then need to go into either a bigger premises with loads of staff, or they need to go in, which is a fucking headache, let's be honest. Who wants to have to do payroll and stuff and all the pension schemes and all the rest of it? But anyway, moving on. Or they think it's like the education, the accredited training courses, the face-to-face, the academies, all the big stuff or whatever, right? And that comes with a lot of stress and a lot of payout and a lot of all the rest of it. These days, and what I'm teaching people to do is basically do what I did 5 years ago, which is going online with it's still services, but it's like helping people. Yeah. So it's like looking at the way you can leverage yourself online. And this is like, as I speak this into the microphone, I'm like, this is a really fucking valuable episode, and I wish I'd had it 5 years ago. I had to get there like the back route and the hard route, and looking at everything free online and stuff, and like on YouTube, and there was just not a lot of help to find balance and to find what to do, more money with more balance. And what I did do, just out of for context for you all, is like I went into network marketing, and it is either for you or it's not. Do you know what I mean? Love it or hate it. And I did really well with it. But if anyone knows like how time consuming it really fucking is, especially at first. Anyway, I digress. So there are 5 points that I want to kind of talk about in this episode, so that you can think about how you can break through that barrier of the 2 to 3k months, or maybe a bit under or a bit more, whatever, thinking you need more clients, like, but you don't. So going maybe more online, just to open your brain a bit. So no, the first one is positioning. So it's like, this comes with 2 parts. The way I train people in positioning is like themselves, okay, and themselves inside their market. Okay, so there's 2 parts of positioning that I want you to make note of, those 2 parts. And what it comes down to is, are you the person that you want to be in the future? Or are you operating, put your teeth back in. Are you operating from an older identity of yourself? One that you need to outgrow. One that you pretty much have outgrown because you're already thinking about these things, but you haven't actioned anything. So if you're operating from that old identity, you're not going to get to where you want to be in the future. And that is just a fact. You need to take the time, make the investment, get the support to work on yourself before you can bring about the results that you're after. Every time you grow, your business will grow. You have to grow as a person first. You've heard me say this before if you've been around a little while. So that's the first kind of thing, is like, are you being the person that you want to be, or are you just thinking about the person that you want to be? The other thing is, are people buying into that? Because obviously, if you're thinking about being this person behind closed doors, you're doing a little bit of mindset work, but maybe not going too deep, the next step is for people to be buying into that, because you start showing up as that. So it's starting to talk about your expertise more. It's starting to think about, what would I leverage of my knowledge maybe to go online in front of people, instead of just talking about my availability as a face-to-face service provider, and instead of just talking about what I do treatment-wise, I need to start actually talking about who I am, first and foremost, what I stand for, and the knowledge of mine that I do want to leverage. Like, you need to start doing that. Are people starting to see that? Are they starting to buy into that or not? And the other thing is, like, are you making a mark in the industry that is different from somebody else? This is part of the positioning process where you will become the only option for your people. And that is what we do inside Limitless as well, is like carve that out and what that looks like, so that the positioning does sit exactly where you want it to, so that the right people are attracted to you and the wrong people aren't. Like, so that you actually are repelling other people. So there's 2 parts of that positioning, like I say, that I think really get into, and ask yourself honest questions around it and figure that out. The second part of the 5 areas that I want to talk about is the offer, like the offers that you have, i.e. the services that you offer. Have a look at them. And obviously right now, every single pound that comes into your bank account is probably dependent on an appointment in the calendar, in the diary. So every time one of those gets moved or rescheduled or cancelled or whatever, it also is like that money coming out of your account, right? It's like, So when you look at the offers and how long you've been in business, ask yourself really honestly, have these actually grown and evolved as I've grown as a person? Because I think that's a really solid question to ask yourself, because I know personally, looking back, hindsight is a wonderful thing, but I know looking back that if, like, looking at my menu, I could pull it up now, I've still got my old menu, right? Yes, they grew with me, but the business model didn't. The only thing that really grew was the price. I did get more confident, obviously, as you know, because I grew my business to the 4-figure weeks, X, Y, Z, all the things. But the the business model and the structure of my offers, if you like, my services, they didn't evolve. They didn't really evolve. Do you know what I mean? There were a few packages, so they were seasonal packages and things that I did a bit differently to stand out and reposition myself in the market. Great, it was successful. But nothing actually became more leverageable. Nothing became recurring. So if I took a holiday, it was a really fucking expensive holiday, because I would pay for the holiday, pay for the money that not pay for, but lose the income that I would have made whilst I'm away because I can't see anyone. And then I'd have to be squeezing everyone back in when I got back. And that energy drain is insane. So obviously, what I mean by have these offers really evolved with you is like, is there something that you can notice where you could turn anything on that menu into something that is more recurring, is more predictable? And if there's not, what do we really, really enjoy? Obviously, I'm not going to get into this ridiculously, we haven't got time, but what do you really, really enjoy on there that you do, that you could leverage that knowledge online, elsewhere, in some other way? Now, when I do this with my clients, for example, we look at things like what they want to leverage first. And then it's like the delivery method of that leverage, because there are many and you need to know what one suits you and your lifestyle the best. That's the key piece here. And then we look at other things around it, i.e. how you're supported, how the automation is supported, so that really and truly things are more actually leverageable, because otherwise you can again build yourself another giant trap of having to do 20,000 hours in a week when we don't have 20,000 hours in a week. Do you know what I mean? So that's the second thing. And then the third thing is, again, like, this is very relevant whether you're in service face-to-face or service online or whatever. But where are people dropping off in your client journey? This is really good to pinpoint, because I do it now. I have to look at the funnel all the time. Like, where do people come in and find me? And this is part of the sales process that I teach people. It's like, where are people finding you? How are we nurturing them and warming them up? And then how are they coming into my world as an actual client? So because sometimes, right, I know I digress again, but sometimes I help women that have tried something like this. They've tried to leverage their time a little bit and their knowledge and go online a little bit. Maybe they've packaged something for massage clients so that they get their own online course, so that they can do things themselves at home, like massaging their C-section scars and stuff like that, right? That's a thing. So it's still like for their actual clients. Now, other people are trying to go into a market that's completely different and start helping the tech. So, for example, for me, I went from doing all of the services to then helping the other techs that do the services, the other business owners that do the services. Well, that's a completely fucking different audience. So this is where people struggle. So that client journey, have a real think about it. Where are your people? Where are they coming in? Where do they warm up? How do they come into your world as an actual client? And are you creating something where you can sort that, actually, if you haven't already, and create that repeated cycle, right? Because otherwise, even if you've tried this before, you've got to start at zero anyway if you're repivoting into a different place. Yeah, if you're repivoting your business into helping the tech instead of helping the people that want the service. Does that make sense? It's just me and my mic here, so I'm not going to get any answers, but hopefully you're nodding along while you're driving the car or out having a walk and have me in your ears or something like that. So really looking at the client journey, this is so important when it comes to deciding on how you're going to break through that 2 to 3k month ceiling that most of you are at. Yeah. Okay, so that's number 3. Number 4 is the visibility side of things. Now, most of you always say to me, like, I'm doing all the things. I'm like, what are we doing? And it's a case of, I'm showing up on Instagram, showing up on Facebook, showing up on TikTok. Okay, fine. Now, there are so many other things that you can do that aren't those. And if they are those, we could be doing them better. But also, what I want you to think about on the back of this episode is, where are your people and are you visible to them in the right places consistently? And stop doing the things that make you break your back. Like, as in, stop doing the things like spreading yourself too thin. Do you really think you need to be on Facebook, Instagram and TikTok when you're just a one-man band? Really? Like, all every day? Really? I don't know. Do you? You know, if it's making you run down, if it's making you burn out, do we really think it's the best use of our energy? Because we need to be in the best energy when we put things out into the world. So are you visible in the right places? Are you able to do that consistently? Is the capacity there for it as per the plan? Like if you're planning to do it, make sure the capacity is there. Secondly, in regards to the right places, you need to have, and this is what I teach in depth, is the baseline of where you're going to be and how consistent you're going to be. And then you also need an expansion plan. And I speak about this inside Limitless all the time. It's like, especially around a launch, or especially periodically, when even if we're not launching, but there needs to be goals in place, and if you like, KPIs in place, if you want to get like measurable about it, as to how you're getting yourself into other spaces. So just think about that, because all of this has to be with real intention. Yeah. And the only person in control of who sees your stuff is you. You actually can't rely on the algorithms, okay? They're not going to put you in the right places as much as we hope they do. They just don't. A little bit of luck sometimes, great, goes a long way, love it. But we don't need a massive audience, so it's not about the visibility in that respect. I'm never going to teach you how to go viral. I'm never going to teach you to worry about your vanity metrics. It's about the intention behind everything else that you're posting, where you're posting it, and how you're getting in front of a wider audience, and that is in your control, nobody else's. And unfortunately, it's actually the part that most people just don't really want to do. Just going to put it out there. The fifth thing that I want you to start thinking about, if you're capped at this 2 to 3K month, is your thinking inside your brain, your processes, and how you're thinking about yourself, your business, and your people. So the most people, why can't I speak properly? My brain I think I've got baby brain before I've got baby brain, like baby's not here yet. So what I'm trying to say is, most people that stay in face-to-face mode, yeah, so most technicians or practitioners or whatever that stay face-to-face with their clients for the longest, like 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, onwards, that's because, it's not even because it's not their technique, it's not their skill, it's not that they're not good at what they do or whatever. They're not thinking like somebody running a business. They're not thinking with a long lens. They're not thinking 5 to 10 years ahead. They're thinking in the now and the tomorrow. And that's about as far as it goes. And so if they're happy there, they're happy there. Like if you're listening to this, well, you're probably not listening to this if you're not happy at your 2 to 3K months, because why would you be listening? But they're happy there, and that's fine, because they don't want to grow. But if you're thinking you want to grow, the last and the most important thing to do, point 5, is look at the way you think. Are you somebody with a growth mindset? Are you somebody that is like, everything is possible? Life is happening for me. Like everything's working out for me. Nothing is happening to me. There is no personal attack going on. You know, it's all in my control. And I am the creator of my reality. And that comes from the internal world. Start looking at that. Because when you start looking at that from an internal perspective, and you practice your gratitude, and you look at how you can literally move mountains to create results for yourself, that next level is going to become much clearer, and it's also going to need and require from you much bigger thinking, and you're going to need to become more of a strategist. And you know, whether you get support or not, you're still going to need to be able to do some of this yourself, right, and think differently. And so I just really encourage you to start thinking bigger, so that gradually as time goes on, your business catches up, and then you think bigger, and then your business grows again, and then you think bigger. There is so much in that. I can't even put it into words, you know. So this isn't an episode where it's like you need to scrap what you're doing and your whole business needs a rebuild. It's just having a starting point to look at these 5 areas of like, okay, where can we refine these things and grow? Because that business, that continues to grow and grow and grow doesn't need to cost you more and more and more of your time and your energy and your peace, right? So this is going to help you start reviewing and refining and making those better decisions every single month, every single quarter, for example. Yeah. And that's how we look at things. When I help people, I'm like, let's look at the yearly goal that you had. Let's break it down into the quarters and the months. And then actually we look at the areas that I'm discussing with you today, and we work on refinement all the time. It's always refinement. And it's, because it's not the problem you think you've got, generally speaking. There's a lot of other things in those layers that I've spoken about. So hopefully this helps, and it's a good starting point for you to break through that income barrier. Let me know what your thoughts are. If you need my help, details are in the description and you know where to find me. But let me know your thoughts on that. And if this whole episode resonates with you, take a screenshot, pop it on your stories, and do tag me, because I just love to see who's watching and listening, and who's going to start implementing these things. So yeah, hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you on the next one.